What up? This Slice back at you with another one. And I'm going to start calling some of these shows Black Men Just Can't Win. First, they go after the passport bros. Then Michelle Obama going in on Barack and then brings him on the show. He commits Harry Carey, basically stabbed himself in the chest with a sword. They both agree that he couldn't have raised the son, which I think is malarkey. And now Revolt is doing a show about why black athletes date white women. I'm going to let Mediocre Tutorial and Reviews give you the rundown, then we're going to talk about it.
They uploaded a piece of content. Title of their content, Why Do Black Athletes Always Date White Women? Preference, Proximity, and Power, the People's Brief. And it was a conversation with three people, and they went back and forth and kind of talked about these different things. And it is absolutely horrendous and terrible. You'll see that up in here. The video itself got over 130,000 views with only 800 likes. Without further ado.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited to sit here with you two specifically to have this conversation, because this conversation can go in so many ways. So before we get started, just like give me a lay of the land. I guess maybe not what's your introduction, but what's your experience with the conversation about black athletes ending up with white women or black men who prefer white women at large?
I would honestly say mine is frustration.
Okay.
Because I think the conversation needs to go in a different direction.
Okay.
I think we're lacking the communicative skills to be able to even have a conversation that's edifying, that gets us to the other side of being frustrated. It is something that's a real thing, and I can acknowledge that. Yeah. But even as a black woman, a former athlete that went to a PWI, a single black woman, you know, I have my feelings. Like, I love black men. I prefer them as well. So it's almost like sometimes I feel like, man, they got another one of them. But at the same time, it's like, you know, love is love, and there's so much. This is a convoluted issue. So for me, I'm just excited to dive in it with you guys, and hopefully people that watch will understand. Like, it's not just as black and white, no pun intended, as it may come across.
So she was an athlete. She was in close proximity to other athletes. Why didn't she lock one down? And I'm never one to tell women not to chase their dreams, but my wife is a great multitasker. Why couldn't she get the man and the career at that point? Seems like her frustration should be with herself.
And before we get to talking about more about preference and I guess what we find appealing or attractive, I want to speak a little bit to what you said about these people don't really understand me and I don't understand them. I think for me specifically, when I think about my choice and who I want to end up with, I want to be with somebody I don't got to explain nothing.
Yeah,
I need
my plight understood.
And unfortunately,
for sure.
Plight.
No offense, Deontay, I'm going to have to explain certain things to a man.
Baby girl, let me tell you something. You're going to have to tell anybody you come in contact with something, not just men. I don't know what it is with women that think men are supposed to figure things out. He's supposed to know how I'm feeling. He's supposed to understand that when I look like this, that this is what I'm thinking. And I don't know. You're going to have to tell me something. You're going to have to tell me. And when women come around me with that astrology stuff, what's your sign, and start rattling off all the things that my sign is supposed to do, no, I'm hardly anything like my sign, so you lose all credibility with me. You're going to have to communicate. Communication is key. So if she's single, that's probably why. She's still waiting for somebody to figure it out.
That's something you're not going to get, boo.
Right.
But a white one? Absolutely not.
Yeah, because it's two factors now. It's like, also too, it's like, I remember I was talking to this white girl one time, because she had like red hair. I thought that was like, I was like, whoa. Like, you feel me? Like, this is crazy, you feel me? But it's like, what? I had brought her to my neighborhood, and like, the way we was talking and communicating, she was like, what does this mean? What does it mean? I was like, this is getting annoying. Like, I'm not trying to translate. Just kick, like, shut up. You know what I'm saying? But, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm thinking, but this how you think, because it's like, you watch this, and it's like, yo, Shawty got red hair. Like, you see what I'm doing out here? Like,
what is he talking about?
The translation part, it was just like, oh, I really don't get these people. And then when I went to her house, it was like, how are you? It's like, what, you wasn't expecting me? But nah, they wasn't expecting me. So it's like, oh yeah, these dynamics is
And now
off.
your safety.
Yeah,
is
I
something
feel
that's on
I
your
feel
mind.
like
There we go.
too uncomfortable.
Okay, did we hit the Project Twilight Zone or something? Who is this dude? And what is he talking about? You feel me? No, I don't feel you, sir. I don't understand the words you just said. What are you talking about? If he say, you feel me, one more time, I'm going to put an X over his forehead for the rest of the show. Because you got these two sound like educated sisters up here talking, and then you go get this dude off the corner smoking a black and mild and have him talk about what? And the fact that no one has a contrast in opinion, meaning everybody thinks the same way, lets me know that there's an agenda behind this show. They don't really want to get to the truth, because in the truth there is two sides, and there's only one being portrayed here on this show.
And you know, my dad, he really gonna trip. I'm gonna go and get up out of here because I don't feel comfortable over here.
Okay.
So it's like, but you remember stuff like that. Even, and as a boy, it's like when they daddy be looking at you weird, it's like, let me get up out of here. If I had to call my dad. You feel me?
We don't want your dad to show
Oh
up.
God.
Added nothing of
What about
value.
you, Sheree?
This is a tough one, guys, because Lene, I'm with you on that.
Okay.
Okay.
As a black woman, I really don't believe wholeheartedly that any man other than a black man can truly connect with me in the way that
Connect
you
is the
described.
word.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, I have to also own the fact that there are frustrations that I have with a sect of black men in this generation when it comes to partnering, when it comes to potentially being a husband or even a viable boyfriend. That has now put me in a position where, even though I really don't want to be open to dating men outside my race, I don't want to do it. Let me
Yeah,
be
we're gonna
very
get
clear.
there.
It's not what I want,
It makes sense.
there.
but it's something that at almost 39 years old, still desiring a family in that life, I may have to be open to.
39 years old, and you still single and thinking about moving on to other races. I don't know. I have to say that she might have missed her window. She was in college playing sports around other athletes and people who had potential. And now you 39 and still single? I don't know. I'm going to say this. It may be controversial, but I don't know. Me, by the time I was 39, I had been in a lot of serious relationships. I'm talking about, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And I ended up getting married at 30 to a woman I met when I was 14, 15 years old. So what I'm trying to tell you is God has already put the person that he designed you to be with in your path. By the time you're 39, you done met this person. You know who he is, or you know who she is, but for some reason, y'all didn't get it together. I think mainly what she's feeling is regret, but she's turning it as if it's the man's fault or whatever. I guarantee you she had a relationship in college. It didn't work out for whatever reason. And instead of internalizing it and finding out what she could have done better, she's just blaming him. It's his fault, men this and men that. So that's where we at in society nowadays. It didn't work out with the man I wanted. It's his fault. And now all men are terrible. When in reality, we can't change other people. We can only change ourselves and make ourselves more attractive to the man that we want or the woman that we want.
So I haven't had any experiences necessarily with being in the proximity that you mentioned with white males when it comes to dating. Now, I will say, growing up, my cousin used to always, tease me that I would end up with a white man, and it would make me so mad. It would really upset me. Like, why would you say that? Like, am I not good enough to be with a black man? But that, outside of that comment, no.
We don't have an issue with what you like.
Right? We don't. I don't.
One of our issues, particularly for straight black women, is that there's not a lot of y'all to choose from.
I almost ran up.
I hate to say it, and I hope it don't sound
I almost
ridiculous,
ran out
but
of
the
here.
numbers quite literally don't lie.
Right.
And then the way
No, you're
things
lying.
are also set up, black women being one of the most educated groups, it is difficult for us to find counterparts.
Right.
And the counterparts we do have, they got their pick of the litter.
Yes, they do.
And now we already have to compete with one another in a way that's, unfortunately, it makes it difficult to be community oriented when we, because of scarcity mindset. But then when we see you turning the other way and you do it because, and your answer is always because, and I'm not talking about everybody, but for those of you who say your answer is because you dislike this, that, and the other about Black women, it just opens up the whole conversation about beauty standards and privilege. And even you mentioned the white hair, these things that feel exotic.
First of all, most Black men, the majority of Black men are married to Black women or dating Black women. Then she said that Black women are one of the most educated groups, and that makes it harder for her to find her counterpart. And I don't understand why your education would make it harder for you to find a mate, because most men, Black men that are not going to college, are taking trades. I have a friend that became an electrician, so he didn't have as much college debt as women that are going to college. He was able to get out earlier, pay his debt off sooner, start working sooner, and he has a side hustle. So he goes to work as a electrician, and when he gets off, he does side jobs as an electrician. Makes a lot of money. It's a 4-bedroom house, 3 garage. I mean, the house is beautiful. And he's not even the highest level electrician. He keeps talking about going back to school. So there are men out there that can be your counterpart. Just because they're not educated as you doesn't mean that they can't be your counterpart. So ladies, tell me, when you meet a man that you're attracted to, do you want him to talk about trigonometry and politics, or do you want him to tell you why he's interested in you? Let me know down in the chat. And also tell me why a man is supposed to know what you're thinking without you telling him. Explain that to me down in the chat too. Thank you. So let's go back to what she said about finding a mate, basically her standard. So are your standards guiding you towards the man you want, or are your standards blocking you from the man that God has already had planned for you?
That talked about this Black woman being the most educated, and it's just simply not true. Now, while heavily enrolled into undergraduate institutions and more heavily enrolled than Black men when it comes to professional degrees, post-secondary degrees, white women, Asian men, just to name a few, are whooping y'all asses. I will say, I'm not just saying this in order to tear you down, but I'm saying this for the sake of accuracy, because they utilize this talking point as to say, well, Black men are not caught up to where we are, so because of which there's not a lot of options. The first thing is utilizing college, undergraduate institutions in order to dictate what is educated versus not is ridiculous. Because when it comes to money, Hank over there, who's, let's say, a journeyman plumber, he can be making a lot more money than a woman that has a gender studies, a history, or a criminal justice degree. But let's just take it out of all of that for a quick second. Within the United States, the population gender difference between Black men and Black women is like 51 to 49%. It's pretty much even. But we know that only 25% of Black women will achieve marriage. So are you saying that there's 75% less available male options than women? And if so, where did they go? And they typically try to say, well, they're either incarcerated or they're homosexual, all 75% of them. Or they might say that, well, he's got a bunch of kids. Well, 50% of Black men in America have no children. Or can it be accumulated to this certain fixation on certain types of Black men? Ergo, a conversation about why do Black athletes date white women? Having this discussion and ignoring the average Black men that are existing within society today, many of which just go completely ignored, is absolutely abhorrent.
You know what? Yes to the aesthetic piece.
Okay.
But I will even go a step further. For me, it goes to an attitude or perceived attitude piece.
Okay.
Even most recently. Shaq, hey Shaq, I love you, but hey. So I did, no, I love Shaq, but he's part of my story.
Okay.
So I was doing a segment on the Shade Room, and I was smiling but very much confident in what I was saying, talking like I'm talking to you all. And Shaq is watching, it's like a live stream on YouTube, and he's like, she's so pretty, but she's so mean. Aww. And I was like, Shaq, I'm not mean. Why would you say that? And I think there's something about Black women who are confident and solid in who they are that sometimes can be perceived as we're angry or we have an attitude or we're boisterous when we simply just believe in what we're saying. And we are naturally emote differently than other races of women anyway.
I didn't see the clip specifically, so I can't talk directly about it. But what I will say is that be hyper independent, argumentative, a boss bee, right? Displaying those type of characteristics, while in many races of women is looked down upon, but that is literally the opposite within the Black community. Oftentimes, these images or pictures of women fighting in these images or these famous people or the music gets pushed in such a way that many women walk around with a chip on their shoulders, even if they have not felt directly some type of negative component or interaction with a man. So for any lovely young lady out there that's listening to this, if someone is describing you with those behaviors and characteristics, just understand you take that out into the dating marketplace. Men don't like aggressive, mean type of behaviors. They might deal with you from a get butt perspective, but when it comes to taking you seriously, they're looking for more cooperation.
I do think sometimes just the confidence, the assertiveness, it can be a little off-putting.
Intimidating.
Yeah. So I think that's the intimidation piece is what I've dealt with more.
And I've even heard that, and I'm gonna let you answer, but I've even heard that specifically in the whole like comparison piece, white women being softer or more malleable or amicable or amenable to particularly Black men leading, but also to my point earlier, it's not a whole lot of y'all left. And in the y'all that's left, how many y'all that can lead?
I don't know.
It's
what
even by a smaller margin. But
Look, I believe that most good Black men are already married. And I believe there's a lot of good women out there that's struggling to find a good man because most of them are already married. Which means if you think you're going to go to college, get all your degrees, get yourself together, and then find your man at 30 and 40 years old, you have the wrong plan. Because by then, most good men are already taken. But the issue really becomes when you find the guy that you want and he's leading and you don't like the way he's leading and you want to argue and debate his leadership, that is where the real problem lies, especially in the Black community. And the Bible doesn't say the man is the head of the household except for when the wife is more educated.
anyway, go.
Listen, I talk all day about the impact of a generation of men that have been overmothered and underfathered. And for that, I say the government's plans worked. They set out a system that targeted families with the removal of the man out the household, whether that's through getting government assistance and a man cannot be available in a household to receive assistance, or unfair laws in the criminal justice system, 3 strikes, what have you. But when the Black woman accepted the government into their household in lieu of a man, in lieu of a father, that's when the shit really started to go awry. So although they talk about men being able to lead, she's complaining about an outcome where mothers made a decision to shape the environment. Post-Jim Crow era, prior to the civil rights movement, there was not an issue with the rate of Black men and Black women getting married. But the recognition that Black power stems from the Black family became enemy number 1. Let's keep going.
Well, I just think, I'm listening to what you're saying, and it's like, all these attributes that Black women have that people want to kind of rein in.
Defend us, brother.
If you was Latina, sexy. So it's like, that get hard too.
No.
And also too, it's like we get,
what are you
know, we
talking about?
curate our feeds on social media to our interests. So my interest, I want to see what Black folks on. So I don't know what other communities doing what they talk about, but I know when it comes to men talking about women, the only people I see publicly degraded all the time, no matter what, is Black women. So it's like I said, I was hyper aware of this young though, because I'm light skinned, both my sisters brown skin, dark skin. So I would just see how people would approach us like, oh my God, you got such nice hair. And we'll then look at my sister and be like, and I'm like, hold on, cuz, like, what's up? So I always been hyper aware because of the differences between me and my sisters in appearance. But I also never liked that I never liked that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But because it's like, they look like my mama. So like, I don't understand what the problem is. Yeah. But the louder people get when it comes to Black women about like, you too loud, you too to do. And then when you compare it to other women, it just seemed like they were a little bit more contained and controlled. But like I said, when you start talking about Spanish women, then that attitude is sexy. Oh, yo, I had a Spanish girl. She was finna stab me. It was hot, like woo woo woo. That's crazy.
He's absolutely just making shit up out of thin air in order to pander to the feelings and emotions that sit within this room and that I guess the network wants to hear.
Facts. I told you, homeboy getting an X on his head for the rest of the show, because there is no race on social media that don't get it when they out of pocket.
All right, so I want to move on to the other side of the debate, because sometimes when I see this conversation or this discourse happening on the internet, you get, but it's okay when a black woman does it, when she dates outside her race, and you were just speaking to that a little bit.
Yes.
I've been on these dating apps myself. It's hard out here for us.
That's why I got off.
And there is a prevalence of white men on them apps.
Yes.
And it's not really my thing, but it also just makes it difficult for me to have more options for my dating pool. But for you guys, like, what do you think is the difference between when it's happening amongst black women versus when it's happening amongst black men?
We don't have a lot to choose from. And then we talk about preference, right? So if I'm a black woman who desires to date a man who has a certain faith that he practices that's in line with mine, that makes a certain amount of money,
Now you'll go there.
that has maybe a certain limit with how many children he already has,
Now you're asking for too much.
This is so
that
bad.
may have never been married before, and I'm older.
Yeah.
So we down under the floor by the time we actually vet through every, and this is not, again, I'm not talking about women that are super stringent and have all these high, like over the top standards.
No, they're
just
just real.
basic things, right?
Basic things. Oh my God, that was not basic. Let's go through the list. Religion. Well, most people in America are Christians. Does that mean you're Muslim, ma'am? Otherwise than that, then you should be able to find a Christian man. There's plenty of them around. Then she said money. Well, the average American makes about $38,000 a year. And if he has to make a certain amount, well, the higher amount a man makes, the less he wants his woman to do. So if you want a man to make more money than you, he's probably going to want a woman that knows how to cook, that knows how to wash clothes and make his house a home. He's not looking for a woman that's out here making a whole bunch of money. So that's what's limiting you from finding your mate, because of your standards are not in line with what men who make a lot of money want. And then she said, kids. You don't want a man with a lot of kids. Well, you're 39 years old. You're almost too old to have kids pretty soon. You worried about how many kids he has? Why? And then she said a man that's never been married before. So what you want is a man that's 40 years old that no woman wanted to marry, or he couldn't find a woman that he wanted to marry, but he's going to decide to marry you at 40. If he ain't married by 40, he might not ever get married. And if he marries you and then now you're the first wife he's ever had, is he going to then be perfect, or is he going to make mistakes since this is his first marriage and this is your first marriage? And this is the type of thing that educated, successful sisters do to themselves to take themselves out of the market. She could find a man that makes $50,000, $60,000 a year that's a Christian, that's going to treat her right, but that's not what she's looking for. And she said herself that it's slim pickings out there, which means you make the best out of the men that are available to you, or you get on this show and complain about it and go cry in the car.
You're gonna cry in the car.
Yeah, sometimes it's not higher over the top. The bar just being held.
That's what I'm saying. So we're doing this off just basic fundamental things that we would like. A man who's into his career. Some of them still trying to figure it out.
The attitude is...
No shade, but again, if you're established, if you're high achieving, and that will go for a
There we
man.
go.
Like depending, if you may have a standard where, hey, I want to date a woman who has a passion, it's something she's really passionate about, and she's career driven. She can still be a great mom, but she has something for herself. You wouldn't date a woman that necessarily doesn't have anything going for herself.
That's real.
So
Come on now. This dude like he'll date anybody with a pack of Newports.
When the statistics already show, it's not a lot of y'all around. Not a lot of good, solid guys around. Not a lot of guys that care about themselves enough to go to a therapist or to read a book or to go to the gym or to eat a salad.
Across dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, black men actually perform very well. Across dating apps for women, black women, they don't perform as well. By the way, let me say this. I don't care who y'all date, right? I think it's survival of the fittest out here. Go where you are appreciated. But if you want to date within your race, then those numbers kind of don't matter. But I think it's important to acknowledge that while black men have seemingly more options when it comes to like a global worldly scale, black women have less options if they were to try to date outside of their race. So taking all of the numbers that I talked about previously, and if you're still saying, where did all the good men go, as you actively ignore most of the men anyway, while belittling and disrespecting those very same men, ma'am, then it perfectly demonstrates why y'all end single. Keep on adding all these requirements as y'all gain education. It's fine. Do whatever what it is that you want, but you may not get the end results that you want.
Exactly. And I think that Shaq was right about this sister here. Just because you tell a person that he's fat and he don't read good.
Look how she's all over him. And then he said I was ugly and I couldn't read good.
With a smile on your face, don't mean you nice. She is mean.
When we're walking down the street and we see a black man holding hands with a white woman, we have a very particular experience.
Yes.
But when we be walking down the street, we might see a black woman with a white man. We might not have that same energy. And where is that setting?
I ain't gonna hold you. Sometimes the white boys be pulling some bad. I'm talking about bad. I be like, hey.
They do.
My boy.
And once the black wife effect take over, it'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
they match.
Hey.
Honestly, I think a lot of black women, and I'll speak for myself, and I'm working through not feeling like this. If I'm walking down the street and I see a black man with a white woman, there's a weakness in him.
Ooh.
Something in him is weak.
Sign language.
I want to preface this by saying, because I don't think we have the opportunity to say it as much. Love is love.
Love is love. Now.
And
Love is love.
as was
Amen.
evidenced in our BEG draft, we just fell in love and she just happened to be white. Sometimes this happens,
Nah, that's real.
but sometimes it don't. And I just want to contextualize her statement
Yes.
by saying that.
And I appreciate you doing that because I believe the same. On the other side,
This
I
is
think when I see a black woman with a white man,
What do you think?
despite all the historical context that we know that sits behind that, I think, oh, she must have got she's tired. Like she must have got so fed up that she's getting to rest now.
Oh,
And
he's getting the rest now. Oh, these guys. This is crazy. So, mind you, this is the young woman who says, Shaq, what do you mean I'm so aggressive? Like, he's weak. That's her estimation of seeing a black man with a white woman. Weak, pathetic, that they will try to shame you to limit your options. But then if you flip that and it was a black woman, it's, oh, she got too tired of dealing with black men. These women, now, meanwhile, she's single as hell, 39 years old. She's damn near my same age, complaining about the same men that she oh so desires.
Yeah, the double standard is crazy, but I understand she's projecting when she sees a black man with a white woman that was her life, that she had one and she couldn't lock him down. And I'm sure she didn't have these type of standards back in college, but for whatever reason, maybe she was focused on her basketball and her education, and she couldn't lock the man down, or something about her did not say long-term relationship or marriage to these men when they were with her. And now at 39, she has this negative image of black men, and they can feel that when they see her and her attitude and how she talks, and it's probably chasing all men off. Basically, I'm for love, and I want the ladies on this panel and all of you ladies and men out there to find love, no matter what race you may find it in. But the thing I think that we're getting hung up on is our list. And I'm not saying, ladies, to date a guy that's living in his mom's basement playing video games all day, or, you know, he's broke. No one should be dating a broke person. I want you to date a fully functioning adult. Okay. But when your list is too extensive or too high of a rate, then it takes it out of God's hand and puts it on you to go out and find this person that most likely doesn't exist, leaving both men and women at home alone. And that's not what I want for anybody. So leave a comment, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next one.